Hello and welcome to the Let It Ride podcast, coming at you to preview week 9 in the NFL. After this week, we will already be halfway through the NFL season. The season is flying by, but we are in mid-season forms with our picks 4-1 on the best bets last week, our third straight winning week. We did lose on the teaser of the week, so 4-2 overall, but that close to going 5-0 on our best bets last week. We just needed the Chicago Bears to punch in that touchdown, that garbage time touchdown at the end of the game. But as they did the whole game, the Bears' red zone woes really letting them down, stopping them from winning that game, stopping them from covering that game, stopping the over from hitting. But we did give out winners on the Jets plus 6.5. They win that game outright. The Texans minus 1.5. They take care of business against the 49ers. We also hit the under 41.5 in that game. Also gave out the over 45.5 in Bills Panthers. So 4-1 on the best bets. That close, like I said, to a 5-0 week. We will look to get there this week. Really think we are rounding into midseason form. That was our third straight winning week, our third straight profitable week after a really bad week 1 and then kind of just treading water for a few weeks, and then the last 3 weeks we have been nailing our picks. We will look to continue that hot streak. We're going to start with the Bears taking on the Bengals. The Bengals a 2.5 point underdog at home. The over under sitting at 51. And the quarterback situation for the Bengals, they're either going to have a banged up Joe Flacco with a strained shoulder, or they're going to have to go back to Jake Browning. This Bengals defense too, we saw it against the Jets. They were overvalued against the Jets last week. That much was clear. They couldn't stop this porous Jets offense. They couldn't score on anybody. This Bengals defense allowing the most points per game in the NFL. Both of these teams, the Bears and Bengals, both bottom 5 in yards per carry a lot. I know the Bears defense has not been very good either, but when you look at what they can do to attack each other, particularly on the ground where both of these teams are bad at stopping the run. The Bengals are the worst rushing team in the NFL. The Bears ranked 10th. So the Bears rushing offense definitely much more well equipped to take advantage of the bad run defense they're facing than the Bengals are to take advantage of the Bears. Like I said, the Bengals couldn't stop the Jets last week. Now I know the Bears did lose to the Ravens without Lamar Jackson, and that looks like a bad loss on paper. But you got to consider they went to Tyler Huntley last week for the first time all season. They moved on from Cooper Rush, and it was the right move. This offense is designed to work with a quarterback that can run the football like Lamar Jackson does. Huntley definitely more of a poor man's Lamar, fits this offense much better. So the offense was much better. They also got Roquan Smith back, which really improved their defense. Like I said, the red zone woes really is what did the Bears in last week. They were moving the ball. They could have won that game if not for a turnover in minus territory that led to an easy Ravens touchdown, and for their red zone woes for the Bears. And those red zone woes have been there all season. The Bears are bottom 5 in the league in red zone scoring, but their opponent this week in the Bengals is 30th in the league in red zone defense. They allow touchdowns at a high rate. I think the Bears are going to be able to move the ball in this one. I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to. I don't know if there's something I'm missing with this game. I think the Bears should be a 4.5 to 5 point favorite in this game. Give me the Bears minus 2.5. That is going to move us on to the Broncos taking on the Texans. The Texans a 1.5 point favorite at home. The over under sitting at 40. Now this line opened at Broncos minus 1.5. It quickly got bet to Texans minus 1.5. So that 3 point swing in the line. I usually don't like taking a team when you're not getting the best of the number after the line is moved. But just going back and forth through the 0 to this 1.5 number, I really don't think you're losing too much value. I still like the Texans minus 1.5 here. This Texans team, number 1 in the league in points per game defense. On the other side, this Broncos defense, really good too. Number 1 in yards per play allowed, number 1 in third down defense. But the injury situation for them, the Texans are getting Nico Collins back, their number 1 wide receiver. Meanwhile, Patrick Surtain for the Broncos is out for this game, so missing their number 1 corner. You also look at this Broncos offense, which has looked great the last few weeks, but it's all been at home. They average 31.25 points per game at home, just 19.5 points per game on the road. So this offense doesn't really seem to travel very well. And on the other side, this Texans defense, like I said, they're number 1 in the league in points per game allowed. That number goes even lower when they play at home. This is a very good defense, particularly at home. So I like the Texans minus 1.5 in this one, and that is going to move us on to the Falcons taking on the Patriots. The Patriots, a 5.5 point favorite at home. The over under sitting at 45, and 82% of the against the spread bets are on the Patriots in this game. They are the hype team coming into this week. Everybody's drinking the Patriots Kool-Aid, calling Drake May potential MVP candidate, and all those things may be true. Remember, I was very high on this team coming into the season, particularly because of their bad schedule. I took them over 7.5 wins. That very well could hit before Thanksgiving. So I'm very high on this team. I like this team. I think they're moving in the right direction, but I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on making them a 5.5 point favorite against a pretty good Falcons team. Who has this Patriots team beat? You go down their schedule. They beat the Dolphins, the Panthers, the Saints, the Titans, and the Browns. Now I know they had that victory over the Bills, their one marquee win on the season. But remember, this Falcons team also beat the Bills and beat them much more handedly than the Patriots did. Everybody's talking about this Patriots run D, and it's one of the statistics I've seen thrown around on every other podcast I've listened to this week. Oh, the Patriots have not allowed a running back to go over 50 yards rushing this season. And yeah, that's true. Milton Williams has been an incredible addition to that defense. They are stout up the middle, but they are susceptible to receiving running backs. We saw Devon a chain catch have 8 catches for 90 yards against them in the game that they gave up the most points in. Remember, they gave up 27 points to the Dolphins. They ended up winning that game, but that 27 points was the most points that they've allowed this season. Their linebackers are great at stuffing the run, but they do struggle with covering running backs out of the backfield. We also saw this with Brock Bowers in week 1. He had a pretty good game, really his only good game of the season in week 1 when the Raiders beat this Patriots team. So these linebackers, very good at playing the run, not very good at playing the pass. Now you have Bijan Robinson, a very good receiving running back in his own right. You also have Kyle Pitts, who has looked more the part that we've all expected him to be, this quote unquote generational talent at tight end. He's not quite living up to that, but he has been playing really well. So I think you see Pitts and I think you see Bijan Robinson really get going out of the backfield when the receiving props are released later this week. I'm definitely going to be playing some Bijan overs. Remember when the Falcons played the Buccaneers, another very stout run defensive team you can't run the ball on. The Falcons were struggling running the ball, so they started getting the ball to Bijan receiving out of the backfield. He had 6 catches for 100 yards in that game. So I think you could see the Falcons follow that same recipe that they did against the Bucs, the same recipe that the Dolphins used against this exact same Patriots defense. Give me the Falcons plus 5.5. The other thing that's really not being talked about is this Falcons pass defense. Everyone's talking about the Patriots run defense, number 1 in the league in yards per carry allowed. This Falcons defense, number 3 in yards per pass attempt allowed. The secondary is playing really well. You have Ramondre Stevenson, who's been banged up, not practicing this week. So this Patriots run game could struggle. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot against a very good secondary. I'm taking the Falcons plus 5.5 here. That is going to move us on to the Seahawks taking on the Commanders. The Commanders, a 3-point underdog at home. The over under sitting at 48. Jaden Daniels is back. He has his wide receivers, Debo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, back. So all 3 of these guys playing together for the first time since week 2. I don't understand why the Seahawks are laying 3 points on the road in a primetime game. I know they've looked great these last few weeks. Sam Darnold looks to be continuing his hot streak from last year. The Seahawks defense looks really good, but their 6 wins have come against bottom half passing team. They have 2 losses this year against top half passing teams. Now, the Commanders do rank in the bottom half, so I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but I really think that the Commanders' ranking really just reflects the injuries that they faced this year. Like I said, they haven't had their top 2 receivers and Jaden Daniels on the field at the same time since week 2. So I think you see this passing offense really get back on track this week. I like the Commanders plus 3 in this game. It's just a desperation game. They're sitting at 3-5. They can't afford to fall to 3-6. Their season is on the line at home. And you have Sam Darnold playing in a primetime game on the road, a spot that we saw him fail miserably in last year when he played the Detroit Lions in the final game of the season with the number 1 seed on the line. And then the playoffs against the Rams, we saw Sam Darnold turn into a pumpkin under the bright lights. Not necessarily saying that he has that bad of a game, but maybe not the best Sam Darnold game in this one, playing on the road in prime time. And I think you see a bit of a bounce back from the Commanders. So taking the Commanders plus 3 here. That is going to move us on to the Chiefs taking on the Bills. The Bills, a 2-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 52.5. And everybody and their mother is going to want to watch this game and root for points, root for Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen to light up the scoreboard. So I think there's some value in taking the no fun bet here. Take the under 52.5. I think both of these offenses know what they're facing on the other side. And I think you're going to see the strategy to try to have long, sustained drives. Both of these teams excel at converting on third down. They really like to have these slow, methodical drives. Neither defense really gives up the big, explosive plays. So I think you see both teams with the strategy. Let's keep the other quarterback on the sideline, try to have long drives. And I think the under is actually in play here. So, I mean, I know this is a bet that could look really dumb when it's when it's 31-35, late in the fourth quarter and your under bet is toast. But I really think there's some value here. Like I said, I think you see both teams try to play some ball control offense in this game. So under 52.5 for Chiefs Bills. The teaser of the week this week. We've lost 2 weeks in a row on the teaser of the week. Even though our picks have been doing really well, the teaser of the week has backtracked a little bit. But looking to get back on track here, we're going to tease the Lions from -8.5 to -2.5 against the Vikings, just counting on them to take care of business against an inferior team, win by a field goal. And we're going to tease the Giants up to +8.5 against a banged up 49ers team. I think the Giants, with that pass rush, can keep that game close. So the teaser of the week, Lions -2.5. Giants +8.5. The five best bets this week. We're taking the under in Chiefs Bills. We're taking the Commanders +3, the Falcons +5.5, the Texans -1.5, and the Bears -2.5. Thank you to everybody for listening. Those are the picks, and I will see you guys next week.